Chapter 5. The Yoga of Action and Knowledge. Arjuna said, Krishna, you extol Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of knowledge, and then the Yoga of action. Pray, tell me which of the two is decidedly conducive to my good. Sri Bhagwan said, the Yoga of knowledge and the Yoga of action both lead to supreme bliss. Of the two, however, the Yoga of action, being easier of practice, is superior to the Yoga of knowledge. The Karma Yogi who neither hates nor desires should ever be considered as an ever renunciant. For, Arjuna, he who is free from the pairs of opposites is easily liberated from bondage. It is the ignorant, not the wise, who say that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead to divergent results. For one who is firmly established in either gets the fruit of both, which is the same, namely God realization. The supreme state, which is reached by the Sankhya Yogi, is attained also by the Karma Yogi. Therefore, he alone who sees Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga as identical so far as their result goes, sees truly. Without Karma Yoga, however, Sankhya Yoga, that is, renunciation of doership in relation to all activities of the mind, senses, and body, is difficult to accomplish, whereas the Karma Yogi, who keeps his mind fixed on God, reaches Brahma in no time, Arjuna. The Karma Yogi who has fully conquered his mind and mastered his senses, whose heart is pure, and who has identified himself with the self of all beings, that is, God, remains untainted even though performing action. However, the Sankhya Yogi, who knows the reality of things, must believe that he does nothing, even though seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating or drinking, walking, sleeping, breathing, speaking, answering the calls of nature, grasping and opening or closing the eyes, holding that it is the senses alone that are moving among their objects. He who acts offering all actions to God and shaking off attachment remains untouched by sin, as the lotus leaf by water. The Karma Yogis perform action only with their senses, mind, intellect, and body, without the feeling of mine in respect of them, and shaking off attachment simply for the sake of self-purification. Offering the fruit of actions to God, the Karma Yogi attains everlasting peace in the form of God realization, whereas he who works with a selfish motive, being attached to the fruit of actions through desire, gets tied down. The self-controlled Sankhya Yogi, doing nothing himself and getting nothing done by others, rests happily in God, the embodiment of truth, knowledge and bliss, mentally relegating all actions to the mansion of 9 gates, the body with 9 openings. God determines neither the doership nor the doings of men, nor even their contact with the fruit of actions, but it is nature alone that does all this. The omnipresent God does not partake the virtue or sin of anyone. Knowledge is enveloped by ignorance, hence it is that beings are constantly falling a prey to delusion. In the case, however, of those whose said ignorance has been destroyed by true knowledge of God, that wisdom shining like the sun reveals the Supreme. Those whose mind and intellect are wholly merged in Him, who remain constantly established in identity with Him and have finally become one with Him, their sins being wiped out by wisdom, reach the supreme goal whence there is no return. The wise look with equanimity on all, whether it be a Brahmana endowed with learning and humility, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a pariah too. Even here is the mortal plane conquered by those whose mind is established in equanimity, since the Absolute is untouched by evil and is the same to all. Hence, they are established in Paramatma. He who, with firm intellect and free from doubt, rejoices not on obtaining what is pleasant, and does not feel perturbed on meeting with the unpleasant, that knower of Brahma lives eternally in identity with Brahma. He whose mind remains unattached to sense objects derives through meditation the sattvika joy which dwells in the mind. Then that yogi, having completely identified himself through meditation with Brahma, enjoys eternal bliss. The pleasures which are born of sense contacts are verily a source of suffering only, though appearing as enjoyable to worldly minded people. They have a beginning and an end, as they come and go. Arjuna, it is for this reason that a wise man does not indulge in them. He alone who is able to withstand in this very life, before casting off this body, the urges of lust and anger, is a yogi, and he alone is a happy man. He who is happy within himself enjoys within himself the delight of the soul, and even so is illumined by the inner light, the light of the soul. Such a yogi, Sankhya yogi, identified with Brahma, attains Brahma, who is all peace. The seers whose sins have been purged, whose doubts have been dispelled by knowledge, whose disciplined mind is firmly established in God, and who are devoted to the welfare of all beings, attain Brahma, who is all peace. To those wise men who are free from lust and anger, who have subdued their mind and have realized God, Brahma, the abode of eternal peace, is present all round. Shutting out all thoughts of external enjoyments, with the gaze fixed on the space between the eyebrows, having regulated the prana, outgoing, and the apana, incoming breaths, flowing within the nostrils, he who has brought his senses, mind, and intellect under control, such a contemplative soul, intent on liberation and free from desire, fear, and anger, is ever liberated. Having known me in reality as the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all worlds, and the selfless friend of all beings, my devotee attains peace. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of Yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 5th chapter entitled the yoga of action and knowledge.